Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world watching this broadcast. I'm Robin, and today I'm joined once again by the gorgeous Judith, and we're going to be talking about the emotional roller coaster of relocating. Good morning, Judith. How are you?
I'm so good. Thanks, Robin, for having me. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm a little bit maybe boastful today that I've got sunshine in Melbourne and I hear it's cloudy on the Central Coast. So I'm going to rub it in.
We're supposed to get super hot later in the week again, so looking forward to that.
I think we're sitting at about 27, 28 later in the week. So that's a comfortable temperature. That's kind of my temperature. I like that. I'm happy
I like that too. We're getting up to like mid-30s, 35, 36 at the end of the week apparently, and that's this is kind of good for your audience to be hearing too, because these are the sorts of, and you being in Melbourne and me being just north of Sydney, the comparisons. So we've had this summer a few really hot days up around the 40s, and it's been very muggy summer, like a lot of moisture in the air, which makes it a heavy sort of heat.
Yes.
So we're all really looking forward, and that's not always the case, but it has been this summer, and it's just starting to get a bit of that freshness in the mornings coming towards autumn
already. Nice. Melbourne's not usually humid, but we've actually had high humidity sitting at sort of 80-90% this summer, which has been quite strange. But last week we literally went from 42 degrees. We had a huge storm that went through Melbourne. I know it was on international news because a few people were checking in with me, but there was this huge storm. I tell you, Judith, in the morning it was 42 degrees. By the evening, we'd gone down to 8 degrees, and it was 8 degrees overnight. The contrasts you get in one day are
That's what they say about Melbourne. You get 4 seasons in a day. That's just what I keep hearing about Melbourne.
Yes, and you get that a lot around the world, but not usually as big a contrast. So anyway, now that we've enlightened everybody as to the weather in Australia. So for those of you who haven't seen one of our broadcasts before, this is just a time and a space for you to reflect a little bit more on your emotional journey and during your relocation, the emotions of other people around you, you're being aware of your own emotions. And Judith, I'm probably wrong in saying emotions, isn't it? Because we're talking about characteristics and identification and how to find ourselves again. But every month we talk about real life experiences, and it might not be your experience, but we just want to give you the space to think about things. We know that when you're moving, packing linen cupboards, children's boxes, inventories, insurances, there's so much to do. But please just take a few minutes just to think about your own well-being and the well-being of those around you. So today we're talking about the emotional roller coaster of relocating. And this definitely is something that, you just, it's the ups and downs. Judith, how do we even start to explain? It's probably a little bit like the weather that we were just talking about.
That's a perfect analogy. That fell really well into your lap there. Well done.
It did. It is like the weather, it can change 4 times in a day, doesn't it? So is that just me? Maybe it's my mental state.
Possibly, but I think we all have moments in that, and it's nice to know, I think, in advance that potentially you could have a series of emotions coming up. You can go from excitement to nerves to terror to discomfort to joy, to anticipation, to the feeling of to feeling adventurous, to feeling sad, to feeling all the way back to excitement again. So many different emotions, just because there are so many changes and there's so much newness, and it's kind of sometimes new things can be wonderfully exciting, and then they can also be kind of, I'm going to say challenging. Maybe that's not the best word, but just because it's so different to what we may have known, or some things will come across ultimately, and change just for humans kind of is a thing, isn't it?
There's a few things that you have to go through. But if anybody has any comments, put them in the comments below if you're watching this. Tell us what you're feeling at this time. Are you feeling scared? Now. Are you feeling nervous? Are you feeling excited? And then maybe say, what you might be thinking you're going to feel like in a week's time. So, let us know how you're feeling. But I think, to sort of kick it off, I think we need to just explain to people that, you're excited about the move, but then you're going to tell your parents that you're leaving, and that can feel a little bit awkward. Maybe you're nervous, maybe you're excited, maybe you know that what their reaction will be and that's going to be exciting. Then you come back and you feel overwhelmed because you've got so much to do and the big to-do list. Then you speak to the immigration person and they say your visa's been approved, and then you're excited again. Right. So this is what we're diving into today, and very much focusing today also on when you arrive, because that is probably, I had somebody on the phone this week, and I could hear it in her voice. Like, obviously I've spent some time with this family. Actually, we've been helping them for more than a year, so I know them pretty well. And from the moment I answered the call, I could tell she just was in overdrive, and she was, the school's full on. I had to get a hem put in my daughter's skirt and her school skirt, and I didn't know where to go, and I didn't have a sewing machine. I couldn't do it. There's just all these little things.
Yeah. Which ordinarily might not be such a big deal, but when put it on top of the experience of the newness and all the upheavals, then those little things, they can really knock you out a little bit.
They do, because you're out of your comfort zone. You don't know where the dressmaker is. When you want to do supper, you're having to read all the labels on the products in the store because you don't really know what the products are. Everything takes longer. It feels overwhelming. So, stick with us today. Judith and I are going to go through how to manage some of those emotions. And
more Judith, than even managing, maybe even looking forward to them. That would be nice, wouldn't it? So that even though you might allow the notion that you could have some emotions that don't feel so great, just still even looking forward to all of that as part of your adventure. Yes. It can really just change, as we've mentioned before, it's the perspective you take on everything that totally affects your actual experience of those things. So if you go on expecting that you're going to have all these overwhelm and various other emotions that don't feel so great, and you're already talking yourself into that being a nuisance or that being an unpleasant experience, you're just going to make it worse for yourself. Whereas, doesn't it feel nicer just to think, well, maybe I'm going to have these feelings as they go, but hey, it's all part of this big new adventure in my life, and that's okay.
Is that maybe an acceptance? Is that an acceptance of saying, hey, I'm going to feel horrible for the next 6 to 8 weeks because I've got so much to do. Let me just accept that. I feel like it's
possibly going to if you're already expecting to feel it, then you're likely to create it for yourself. So it's like, hey, maybe I will feel that. Well, because you talk yourself into it. So every new little hiccup becomes a mountainous obstacle that I knew I was going to be overwhelming. You talk yourself into you talk yourself into feeling yuck already. So, I really like this perspective, which is actually a truth. It's actually a fact.
Okay. I love facts.
Facts are good, right? So facts are good depending on how you choose to perceive them. So we all perceive facts differently. So whatever happens, and this is whether or not we're moving, whatever circumstances we find ourselves in, the things that are happening, the things that other people are saying and doing, the situations that are occurring, they are just neutral. They are just a thing that has been said or a thing that is happening. It's just a neutral thing. The only thing that gives it meaning is what we think about the situation. So my flight has been postponed for 4 hours. That's just a fact. It has no emotion around it. It's just a thing, a fact. Okay.
Create the emotion.
It's absolutely neutral. We don't actually have an emotional reaction to that. We have an emotion. We think that we do. We think we're just emotionally reacting to the circumstance. We're actually having an emotion as a reaction to what we're thinking about the circumstance. So you get a message
how it's affecting us. We're probably emotional about this is inconvenience. But
you're thinking that it's inconvenient. You're not thinking it's just a neutral fact. You receive an email. Your flight's been postponed. It's been delayed by 4 hours. And your head goes, oh, bugger. oh, now I'm going to have to change this, I'm going to have to change that. Wow, the kid's going to react, blah, blah, blah. Or you're thinking, oh, good, that gives me more time. You know, whatever you think is going to create your reaction. If you think, oh, bugger, you're going to, your emotional reaction to that thought is, you know, or
now
annoyance or frustration. Whereas if you think, oh, great, that gives me a bit of breathing space, suddenly your emotional reaction is going to be so different, isn't it?
Yes. So
the magic
find the good in it. Yeah.
Well, the magic in is just, first of all, being aware, noticing what your thoughts are, and then being able to say to yourself, oh, that was a bit of a negative. That thought didn't make me feel very good, did it?
Yes.
Well, possibly I could think about it differently. Like, yeah, it is a bit of an inconvenience, but hey, it's just a little hiccup. Hiccups happen.
Yep.
I can handle it. How are we going to make this enjoyable for the children? You know, how are we going to make this delay a fun time for the kids? Whatever. You know, you just being aware.
How can I turn it around into something positive? How can
I reframe it into something that makes me feel better? And when I'm feeling better, that's my life. My life is totally how I feel. And it ripples out to your family and everybody else you come in contact with. And it ripples out to the future hiccups.
Yes.
Hiccups are just like, they just happen.
They do.
So you can either snowball down the hill, or you can just sort of glide across and just allow them to happen and be cool with the fact. But that just comes from making that decision beforehand. And the way I like to think of it is that if you take the focus away from all the things to be done and put the focus on being the hero or the heroine of your own adventure.
Yes.
If you want to consider this as an adventure of your own story, and then focusing on, okay, well, if I'm going to be the hero of this, I'm going to reframe everything so I react with courage, so that I react with calm, so that I react with happiness, so that I react with the spirit of adventure, so that I react, I don't know, anything that feels good. You just want to focus on, I want to feel good right now.
Yes.
So make a choice. And then just begin to think and do things that make you feel a bit better around those circumstances. So without getting too heavy into it, it's kind of light and it's fun, okay? Just recognizing it's not the circumstance, it's what you're thinking about the circumstance that makes you feel okay or not okay.
Yes. So it's almost like, you know, and that's exactly what these sessions are about. We want you to just take a few minutes to think about your emotional side of things. So, you know, what Judith is saying now is just absolute gold, because what we want you to do is think about what your mantra might be during your relocation.
Nice.
My mantra is going to be that I'm going to face this with courage, or my mantra is going to be I'm going to face this and I'm going to be excited because my kids will notice that I'm excited and they'll get excited. Or, you know, so that every time you have that little hiccup, because there's going to be hiccups. Nobody in the world can say you're going to have a wonderful, seamless, stress-free relocation. It's not going to happen. There's always a hiccup. There's that dustbin that's in the way, or, you know, this car park rage, or whatever it might be, you know. But if you have a mantra for your relocation and say, this is my mantra, this is what I'm going to do. So Judith, I know it's a bit spontaneous, but, you know, I think what you've said now is so important about having that, taking this time now while you're with Judith and I to think, what is your mantra going to be? Are you, you know, Judith, go through them again. What can people do? They can talk, they can say, okay, well, I'm going to be excited. What were some of those wonderful nuggets you just spoke of?
What, some feelings that you might like? I said some feelings that you feel that make you feel good. Okay.
That you might be 3 months out from your relocation and you think this is going to be how my emotional well-being is going to be. So if I don't take anything else from Robin and Judith, I want to walk away with a mantra. So let's help them.
So let's say maybe you want to decide that you will feel calm no matter what happens. I'm going to feel calm. I'm cool with that. Maybe you're going to feel courageous. Brave. Maybe I want to feel brave. So anything that comes up, I want to be like that hero who just bravely goes on. Maybe you want to feel adventurous, whatever you happen.
Yes, I love that.
Probably, I tell you what, I think that's maybe really appropriate, more so to this situation, because if you're watching an adventure movie, it's not all smooth sailing, but it's all exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're viewing that, you know, Indiana Jones falls into a pit of snakes, doesn't he? But it's just
But
like
there's the build
that's
up, and
just
there's
part of it's part of the fun. The adventure includes the positives, and I don't
yes,
like using positives and negatives so much. It's more just like it improves it includes what feels good and what feels less than good, right?
yes,
It includes what feels crappy. But if you perceive it as an adventure, you already have a certain perspective about it. I don't know. To
yeah.
me, that works in my head. Does that work for you?
It does, but I think the other important part that we need to remind people is you first, and that's what Judith was saying right from the start, you first got to recognize, hey, these are negative emotions. Let me call on my mantra.
Yes.
My
So that's
flight
how
has
you
been
do it.
delayed. Let me not get upset that my flight's been delayed, because my mantra is I'm going to see it as an adventure. So where's the coffee? Or, where's the
And
bouncy castle?
I love, yes,
Yes.
yes. And I love it's now that for some random reason I've got Indiana Jones in my head because we're talking about adventure.
Well,
But
it's
like
better than the underwear we had last week.
I liked the underwear.
It was a good conversation.
Um,
Sorry, Indiana Jones.
No, don't be sorry. You just mentioned. I think we're stood on the postponed flight sort of thing, and you go, okay,
Yes.
where's my coffee? Where's the bouncy castle? But like the postponed flight is like Indiana Jones having some travail, having some sort of challenge. And I don't know if you've seen this one. Do you remember the movie, the episode, not the episode, the movie in that series where he's with his dad and they're tied up together back to back in
Yeah.
a room that's like starting to burn down or something, and they're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
teasing each other mercilessly.
Yes.
Like they bring in the movie, they bring humor into those frightening situations. So it's
Yes.
just that. It's like if you can look like that, my flight's delayed. Oops, my ear thing. How can I, make
Yeah.
it
Where's the
funny, make it fun, just try and get to a point where you can have a giggle about it if possible.
Yes. Yes.
Just even talking about it just now kind of lightens the whole sense of it all. Do
Yeah.
you think?
I definitely think, and I think having that sort of mantra. So step one is obviously noticing, hey, this is a horrible situation, but it's my reaction to it, as Judith said. So
Yeah.
my reaction is going to be, this is my mantra for when I relocate. And I think giving yourself time to just find those positives, I want to go down a completely different rabbit hole about, coming back to why you're moving and why you're doing these things. Because sometimes there's a part of me that also says it's okay. It is okay to collapse in a ball of tears sometimes. Sometimes you just need that release. And
Yes.
don't let that make you feel like, oh, I've lost my mantra, or oh, I've lost my marbles, or whatever it might be.
No,
It's
but
okay to also sometimes just collapse a little bit and take it in. Don't compare yourself to everybody else. Don't compare yourself to all those other people on Instagram that seem to be making it in their relocation and all stress free and having picnics in the park already, and you feel like a ball of crying envy. Don't
a ball of crying envy.
But you do. I get relocations who say that to me. They'll say to me, but that family only arrived 2 weeks ahead of me, and look how organized they are already. And I'm like, they had different priorities. They had different support mechanisms in place. They had different
and
things.
different
Don't compare.
personalities, just totally
Yes.
different characters and
Yes.
personalities. I mean, that all links back to our previous conversations in the previous videos where we're talking about coming to understand who you are and knowing who you are, and then making some really beautiful choices about who you'd like to be and what your mantras would like to
Yes.
be, so how you'd like to deal with things. So,
Yes.
and then that's the magic is in embracing the ball of crying. What was your term? The ball of crying envy?
Does it sound, maybe it's a bit too familiar to me. A ball of crying envy. It's just something I've developed in this last 10 seconds. But yes.
But it's just, yes, it feels awful when you're in it. But this is possible. You can do this, right? You can be in that moment of feeling awful and still be going, This is life. Do you know what I mean? It's like
I've got to pick myself up.
It all.
Yes.
But no, you don't have to pick yourself up in that moment. You can be in that moment going, I feel really crappy, but hey, this is life. Look, isn't it crazy? Isn't it fun? Isn't it ridiculous? Isn't it exciting that we have all these emotions that we can feel in our lives? And then, you don't want to stay in a crying ball of envy for too long because that's not fun. So then you use your little perspectives and your techniques to sort of gradually
pull yourself
out of it.
Yeah. And I think for most, be that woman who was on the phone to me this week, be that person, have somebody that you can call on, whether it's your relocation consultant, a friend, a family member, have somebody in your life that can help anchor you, your partner, probably not the kids, but, have somebody,
who knows?
Not the kids, but have somebody that you can go and be open and honest with and say, this is what I'm feeling. And I know that it's the wrong feelings, but I just really need a hug and a piece of sushi and some flowers and I'll be okay. Have somebody around you that you can turn to when things are feeling tough, because I think you can't say it's never going to be tough. It just is. You get tired.
Life is like that, no matter which country you're living in.
Absolutely. I was talking to my son this week.
Sorry, go. Yep.
I was talking to my son this week. He had been with his girlfriend over in America, and they had been skiing at really high altitude at Breckenridge. And he was saying for the first few days, because you've got that jet lag, but you also at high altitude, you just feel really lazy, and we were having a real conversation about this.
Down this hill.
Yeah, exactly. And, we were talking a bit more about that jet lag, and, people just underestimate it completely. You're going to be tired. You've got a list of things to do. The kids are hungry. Nothing's normal. Yeah. Have a mantra. Have somebody you can talk to as well. Remember, there's migrant mindset coaches. There's wonderful people like Judith out in the world as well, with beautiful content out there to help you as well. So know what the avenues are before you leave home. You've listened to us. Know what those avenues are. Let's, give yourself some space. But I think, realizing those emotions and how you're going to deal with them is very important.
Being totally okay with them,
Yes.
I'm just going to lazily fall down this very high ski slope right now because I'm jet lagged and there's
Or like you said with Indiana Jones, I'm tied to somebody and the building's burning down, but I'm still going to make a joke of it.
It's like, hey, this is where I am. I don't, you're not feeling good, but it's okay to not feel good. It's just really important to not beat yourself up about having unpleasant emotions.
Yes.
It's okay. And it's part of life, and that's kind of the fun of it. And then gradually, as you build up a bit of a bank of perspectives and techniques and ways of thinking and personal things that okay, if I'm feeling this unpleasant way right now, if I go and do this thing, I know it always makes me feel better. You'll have your own little tricks. Maybe it's like you said, a hot cup of coffee. Maybe it's a snatch. It depends how busy and whether or not you have family around you, but just know
or how stressed you are.
Whether
it's wine or coffee.
Know the things that that help bring you out. Maybe it's a quick walk outside. Maybe it's shut off everything and watch a show that you like. Maybe it's you just find, maybe it's knitting, maybe it's reading, maybe it's whatever. Know the things and come to discover them more and more. The things that if I go and do this thing, it's going to take me out of my mindset that I'm in now. It's going to improve how I feel, and then I'm going to be able to come back and deal with all this with much more ease.
Yes. And to all the mums out there, I just want to say that children do feed off your emotions as much as you try and hide it from them. They can detect it. They are like sniffer dogs. Okay, so don't think that you're always hiding these things. Rather deal with them, have a mantra, and move forward from it. Judith, we've only got a few minutes left. Let's dive into some key takeaways. So I think the key takeaways from me would be, I always find when I'm having a bad day, if I can turn around and express thanks or gratitude to somebody else, that's my kind of thing and my way
that's the thing that lifts you up.
It lifts me up. because I can see it, and I think that's contagious. So find what it is around you that, you can be grateful for. And I think that will also help lift your mood or your anxiety levels when you are in some of those darker days. I think really accepting that we're all different. Don't compare yourself. Don't. This world is becoming like Instagram, but there's a reality behind it, and not everything is roses. So accept that you're all different. You're all going to cope differently. You've all got different behaviors, personalities. You've all got different things around you that are influencing your move. So don't compare yourself. And I think my key takeaway for today is have a mantra, have something that you can pull on that tells you this is, this is how I'm going to deal with this, and this is how I'm going to move forward. Those are my key takeaways.
They're really good. And our takeaways generally coincide. So
yes,
I just think it's fabulous to see yourself as the hero or the heroine of your adventure and your story. And if you can have that in your mind, being aware that heroes don't always get everything right, but they always ultimately learn and grow from their experiences. And so that's the perspective that's really nice to take. You're writing your own story.
Yes.
Every day you're like writing a new little chapter of your own story, and that's kind of fun. And so you'll at least just become part of the stories that you'll tell 10 years in the future. And then just frame those in the way that makes you feel better. You might not be able to go from feeling what was your term, a crying ball of energy, to feeling totally free.
May you not remember that all day.
I want to write it down. I think it's such a cool one. Going from that feeling to feeling elated, it's just not going to happen. But you can make yourself feel just that little bit better, and then just this little bit better, and this little bit better. And I have, keep doing that.
Yeah.
I have two little activities that I invite you to do. You can start them right away, that I have found enormously beneficial. And the magic is that if you start doing these things, you start looking at things like this every day, every day, every day, over time, your general state of being is going to be, I'm using the word elevated just because we tend to think of feeling down as being feeling low. We use the expression, I feel low, I feel down, as to feeling happy is like a lighter, higher sort of feeling. So that's why I'm using that. You would gradually feel lighter, and it will become your permanent state of seeing things and your permanent state of being, where very little is going to affect you in the way that it maybe used to. So it's so worth it.
The change would become smaller. Yes.
Yes, and then when obstacles occur, you just don't even have those reactions at all anymore that knock you right down, just because you practice bit by bit.
Your new
and so
normal.
that's a really nice expectation to have for your life.
Yes.
So here are two simple ways to sort of start that ball rolling. Every morning, just decide how you'd like to show up for that day. Do I want to show up feeling calm? Do I want to feel happy? Do I want to feel courageous? I'm sure there are more. These are the ones that keep coming back into I've written some down here. Let me think if there's something else. Anyway, you know what's really fun? Go into thesaurus.com. I use this all the time. Go into thesaurus.com. Take a basic happy word like happy. Just take that to start with. Put happy in and see all the words that come up underneath that represent happy, because some of those words, you'll just go, oh my gosh, I love the way that word sounds. They're words that you'll know, but you may not, there are so many beautiful words in the language, and we tend to choose just one all the time. So go into the word adventure,
find something
go
more,
into the word courage, and see all the different words that come up, and you will find some there you go, oh, I love that. That's how I want to feel. That's going to be one of my words in my mantra.
That's very good.
It's actually really fun. You can lift yourself up just by going in and searching for some words like that. And just by reading through those, you can lift yourself up. So choose how you want to feel in the morning, and then just know that whatever the circumstances, those neutral circumstances that are just things that happen that are just neutral, whatever they are, you're going to choose to show up to those circumstances with that emotion, with the mantra that Robin was talking about. So whatever happens today, I'm going to feel capable.
Yes.
Even if it's just capable, beautiful. That's a fairly non-emotional sort of word. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not
I can deal with being capable.
I can deal with being capable. It's not like expecting myself to be elated when the walls are crumbling. But
Judith, maybe that's, you were saying to take it in steps. You know, if we've come from that crying ball of envy stage, and now we want to take it in steps, maybe we need a mantra that's got those steps. So I just want to be capable for the next hour, you know, and then in the hour after that, I want to be amazing, and then I want to be super awesome, you know. So
but you can. But that's such a good point, because that's how you do it. You will not jump from here to here in one go.
No, you can't go from there to awesome.
But then once you're feeling capable, and you believe that you are capable, I think we all pretty much believe that we are capable of dealing with situations. Once you're feeling capable, from that point, you're then more able to feel whatever the next emotion is that's a bit higher than that, that's a bit lighter than that. I'm feeling capable now. I'm kind of feeling kind of cool. And now I'm feeling cool. Now I'm feeling, now I'm actually feeling like I could feel a bit of joy. You know,
I can face this again.
But you have to be at those separate levels to be able to imagine attaining the next one.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Judith, I think we need to have we need to produce maybe like a media pack or a little ebook about this. I feel like it's something we could actually develop into this. And so if you're watching this broadcast,
stay tuned.
Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. If we have not published something by the time you see this broadcast, then get on us and say we're not being awesome enough for you.
The pressure's on. I'm a
But I really think there's something in that. I think there's something that could really help people. You know, how people have vision boards. You know, let's create a vision board for a relocation with your mantras on it and what you're actually dreaming of.
That's a lovely idea.
Yes. See, I've got you going now.
I do. Maybe we'll go 2 hours.
Yes, you do that, don't you? Don't you do workshops in that? You do now.
Various things in the past.
Everybody, Judith's running a workshop. Watch the space.
No, but with your idea of the vision board for your relocation, you can't pick that up and carry it on the plane with you. But you can have what I call a happiness book. I've actually got this in my book. I wrote a nonfiction book called Your Native Language is Your Superpower, Reinventing Yourself with Joy in a New Country. And inside I put this little thing that is so fun. It's called your happiness book. And it doesn't have to be a physical book. I've just got mine, in fact, on a file on my computer. And all you want to put in there is images that make you feel good feelings.
Nice.
So when I find beautiful images on my Facebook scroll or just whatever, I'd see something and go, I love it. Just makes you feel good. Bang, I'm saving that. It's going in my happiness book, which is in my happiness file. And you get this collection. But the only proviso is that you have to feel good when you see it. So, for example, if you choose a picture of a beautiful tropical island because you've been dreaming of going to a tropical island forever, that may not be a good choice, because when you look at it, instead of making you go, it feels so good looking at that, you'll look at it and go, damn, I still haven't been there.
Envy.
It puts a pressure on you, you know?
Yeah.
Scrap that. You don't want that one. You just feel it. So there's your, what did you call it? Your vision board.
Yes.
But sort of tweaked a little to become a happiness book. And every time you just need a lift, you go in there and you look at them, and it works every time.
Yeah. You could have a Pinterest board. Just have a Pinterest board, and there's a lot of things. There's easy ways of doing it, but it all starts with what we started with, that realizing that all these emotions are part of your roller coaster ride of relocation, that you've got to embrace them. You need to take time to think about how you're going to overcome them. But most of all, you need to just identify them and then deal with them in a positive way, in small steps, as that pretty much covers today's session, I think.
Summary. And then at the end of every day, once you've decided how you want to be, you've got your mantra, at the end of each day, just look back and celebrate yourself for how you did feel. So just notice when you felt, it was pretty damn brave of me when I went and spoke to that immigration guy, wasn't it? Or, wasn't I calm when the kids were all being a bit crazy at the airport? Good on me. Or if you were actually quite wobbly during the day, if you didn't quite manage to live up to your mantra, just celebrate the fact that you now notice that you're becoming more self-aware. I noticed that I was thinking that this is all a bit overwhelming and I wish this wasn't happening and that made me feel bad, and then blah, blah, blah. Just noticing that is like a celebration, saying, good on you. At the end of the day.
Take some time to pat yourself on the back as well. Judith, thank you so much. Again, just an exciting session. We always have a good laugh, and thank you to everybody out there. Please take some time to just listen to this. Take some time to think about it in your process and as you're riding that relocation roller coaster. Think of Judith and I and the what is it? Not hindsight, but the forewarning that we're trying to give you all to just help you to deal with everything. Judith, thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, Robin. Thanks to everybody watching. I hope you're getting some tips that really help you to enjoy your experience as much as possible, because that's what you want. You want to be able to enjoy it as much as you can. So, and as Robin said,
right start.
Any comments are fantastic, or anything that you are experiencing that we may not be talking about, or any concerns or any questions, pop them in, because that might open a subject that we haven't touched on and haven't thought of touching on, that we can come up with something that might be helpful for you. So
absolutely. And I've just put the email address for Plan for Australia on the bottom of your screen. So if you don't want to make a public comment, but you want some more resources or information from either Judith or I, please feel free to email us in confidence. Thank you again. Have a lovely day wherever you are. Thanks, Judith. And I hope you don't melt too much on the Central Coast.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.